Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. Motown the Musical tells the true American dream story of legendary Motown founder Berry Gordy. The popular production has returned to Detroit for 2 weeks at the Fisher Theater. American Black Journal's Chastity Pratt-Dawsey caught up with Berry Gordy and the actor who portrays him in the musical, Chester Gregory, at the Motown Museum.
Here in Detroit for the musical and so many other things. I was reading from your autobiography, To Be Real, which you wrote back in 1994, partly to dispel some of the myths about Motown and tell the truths. I'm wondering, with this musical, how accurate is it? What did you put in? What did you leave out? How truthful is it?
Too truthful, for my sake. You know, we just kind of told it. See, first of all, you know, it's like telling. It's very easy, and I tell people that I work with, you know, artists that's coming in. When they come in, I tell them, you know, just tell the truth and make it entertaining. That's all you have to do. It's not that complicated. You tell the truth and make it entertaining. But people so busy trying to make things seem like they were, and they get caught up into this doesn't, and an audience sits and looks at that and said, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. They just did this over here and they did this over here. So what we do at Motown is about tell the truth and make it interesting. It's not much more complicated than that. And if the truth of your life is not a good one, then that will show. And if it was a good one, that will show. You had trials and tribulations, that will show. You know, it's just about, and I tell the kids when they come in, you know, with whoever it be, Smokey, Michael, Marvin Gaye, this one, that one, tell your truth. And those guys believed it so much that they became interesting all the time. In fact, me and Marvin would fight all the time because his truth was very narrow. I mean,
and are those types of things in the play? What you know,
yes,
just generally
everything
speaking.
I'm saying, the truth is, it has to be there because it's truth, you know. Even embarrassing moments, I've had a couple, and it happened to be true, and people say, you're not going to put this in there. I said, oh, it's true. You know, if I can make it interesting, I will, but I got to, because people relate to that. They relate to the truth, and that's why I fought so hard to get my music heard by everybody. You know, and the disc jockeys would not play black music on white stations because it wasn't popular. They had a pop station. You with the R&B and black music and race music.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm not. I'm with people music. you know, it's you know, white people would love my stuff if they could hear it because it's about them too.
Chester Gregory, you play Berry Gordy on stage, and I'm from Detroit, and I would venture to say nobody knows Motown like Motown knows Motown, right? A lot of these artists actually walked it through and lived in our neighborhoods, and now you're doing this story here for a Detroit audience. Talk to me about what's performance-wise fresh and new that even Detroiters can learn and enjoy in this story.
I think one thing that I love about being a part of this musical and working with Mr. Gordy is that he allows us to interpret the characters and the truth of the story in an honest way to us. So it's not people up there doing impersonations or anything like that. We're honoring these legends in a way that is truthful to us as actors. So I think that because there is no place in the world that will look at this under a greater microscope than Detroit.
You got that right.
Right? Right. So it's not just legends. These are like family members, people they grew up with. They know all kinds of backstories and stuff like that. So no one can compete with that. But what they will discover is a way for me to portray him in a way that's honest to me and what that means to me. Nobody else can touch that. And so for me to instill that and then spread that, then I think that will be something that will leave people with a fresh perspective on something that they have known about their entire lives.
Now, Mr. Gordy, I think some people would be intrigued to know that when you started Motown, you kind of employed some of the methods that you learned on the assembly line. You turned this into a hit factory, right? I wonder, though, you know, 180 #1 songs later and all these legendary accomplishments, when you look at today's music industry, you got online, you got digital, you got social media. Could a Motown have happened, or can a Motown happen in today's industry, or was it something that belonged to that time and place?
Well, everything has its time and its place and its world circumstances. Mm-hmm. And today's music is a product of that fact that so there's social media, there's streaming, there's this, there's that.
Right.
Any kid with a cell phone can become a record company, you know, right. Because they can write their songs, they can do their movies, they can do their everything. So it's a different time. So, but there are certain things that remain that people must have in any time. And so when you ask me what today's time is, you know, everybody around the world and China can come up with a song and right. It can go international. So you can't say, what would you do in today's time?
Right, could we have a Motown today? You know, can a Motown type of thing happen in this industry, or is it?
Well, yes, a Motown thing can always happen because it's built on love. It's built on love and truth. So if there's love and truth involved, and all you have to do is make it entertaining, it can happen anytime. So content is still the same. We still have to have hit content. It's just that there's so many more technology and this and that and so forth. So a lot of content that come out is not a hit, but it's a hit because it is heard so many times over media, or is this or is that. But still, content is the name of the game.
Okay, no surprise, Berry Gordy had a lot more to say in that interview, so you can watch the entire thing at AmericanBlackJournal.org. And joining me now are two cast members from Motown the Musical. Allison Semmes plays Diana Ross, and Elijah Ahmad Lewis portrays Stevie Wonder. Welcome, both of you, to American Black Journal.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no. Definitely. So no pressure on you guys at all. Playing Diana Ross, playing Stevie Wonder, doing it in Detroit, I'm sure it's nothing, right? You just go out there every day and turn it on, right?
Exactly, no. But it's really great because it really does feel like a homecoming in a sense. You know, this is where it all started. Mm-hmm. Motown is in Motown. So, you know, it's all love. It's, you know, it's definitely pressure, but it's all love.
Yeah, we heard in the video Chastity asking about performing this in Detroit, where, you know, if you get it wrong, you're going to hear about it, and you're going to hear about it during the performance, right? Mm-hmm. Someone from the audience is going to say, that's not right, that's not how that happened. Talk about the response you've gotten, though, from Detroiters that may be different from other cities.
They're so into this show. I mean, you know, going around from different cities, you know, being that Motown music is the soundtrack to the American life. And I can say that with confidence.
That's right.
You know, so they know everything that happened. They know what happened with these artists. They followed these artists. But, you know, back here in Detroit, they lived this.
Yes.
You know, we have dressers at the theater who were like, oh, I was singing back up with the Vandellas. You know, you hear that tambourine? That was me. Right. You know, this is the life that they lived. So it's almost not just an American soundtrack, but an American life story.
Yeah.
Because you can sit in the audience and say, I remember when that happened. I was at Tina's house down the street, and then I came down and they were doing My Girl.
Yeah.
You know, so of course we're telling Detroit's story also.
Yeah. The story here is, of course, about Berry Gordy and the way he sort of goes from the beginnings of this through the thing, but it also tells the story of these artists, and you guys are playing artists who have, I think, two of the most compelling stories out of Motown. Talk about getting into that character. Diana Ross grows up in a housing project here, goes to Cass Tech with my mother, of course, one of those Motown stories, right?
Yes.
But then becomes the biggest star in the world. Talk about that character.
Yeah, you know what I love about playing Diana Ross is that we see that young girl, that 15-year-old girl from the Rooster Projects. She comes up and she comes up to this young entrepreneur where she hears about Hitsville and she wants to be a part of that. So we see that ambition from 15 all the way through when she becomes Diana.
Right.
And that's what I love about it, because it's not just a glimpse of, oh, this is when she was famous, but we see that journey of her discovering herself, learning about herself, and how the group develops together, and all the things and the tribulations and trials that they went through.
Sure.
You know, we see that journey, and it's so gratifying.
Yeah, yeah. Stevie Wonder, similar kind of story, but this tremendous challenge that he has, the fact that he can't see. But again, one of the biggest stars in the world. Talk about playing that on stage.
It's so honoring, number one.
Yeah.
Just to play such a musical genius, who's actually, I can say, you know, one of the greats who, and he still creates, and he's
still doing amazing things.
Oh yeah,
right?
still touring and everything too. It's an honor to play him, and you know, every night I just pray that, as Mr. Gordy says, that people receive my truth.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a fine line that you have to walk with playing Stevie. You know, so it's not like you're making fun of him, but you're being true to, you know, something that he has that, you know, brings to his artistry and stuff. And in this show, with playing these characters, you see that these people, like she said, the journey, you see that they're humans.
Right,
like
right.
Everyone else who worked, who put in the work to become who they are.
Yeah, yeah. One of the great truths about Motown was the sort of interaction between the groups, the fact that it becomes like family over time. I would imagine that a Broadway show like this is sort of like that too, right?
Absolutely.
There's a lot of
absolutely, we are living together, you know, just like the Motown Review, where these groups were traveling together. I was talking to one of the singers from the Velvelettes last night at the party. It was amazing, but she was telling me how when they were on the Dick Clark caravan, how they would sleep on the bus one night and then sleep in a hotel the next night. So there was a closeness that I feel that the traveling company definitely has. It does make us like family.
Yeah, very much so. Like she said, with touring and everything, and actually having Berry Gordy and Smokey Robinson, and, you know, Uncle Smokey and Uncle Berry, Papa Berry, you know, just having them there and being able to, the artists that are alive, to welcome us in.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, when you come to the show, you'll see how we feel just as much as a part of the Motown family as they do.
I know that the thing about Motown music is that as soon as you hear those opening strains of one of those songs or the opening lines, there's this thing that wells up in your gut. I mean, there's this instant emotional response. I can't sing, so I have no experience of you know, trying to perform those, but I would imagine that performing those gives you even a different, a more intense, that emotional response to those notes, the way they come together. Talk about that. Just being on stage, singing these songs.
You know, we're helping people go down memory lane. And it's amazing when you sit there and I'm about to do Stevie and you hear Signs So Deliberate. I didn't even sing a note yet. And all I hear was dum, 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 dum. And there's one lady last night, she was like, oh my God, yes, he's singing it, he's singing it. And it's amazing. Like, it's one of the joys of just being on that journey with them. To help them remember where they were, who they were with, what they were eating.
First time you heard those
Absolutely. And the first time you heard that song too. And the thing about Motown too is that it not only was a music and a music sound, but it was a musical movement. That type of music reflected what was happening during the times too. And one of my favorite quotes from the show, Marvin Gaye says it. He says, I don't want to just reflect the times, man. I want to effect the times, you know? And it's like that music went hand in hand with what was happening during the times, what's going on, Ball of Confusion, specifically during the Civil Rights Movement. And that's one thing that really is beautiful for me, because that music was very healing and expressive of what was happening.
And the fact, this is how you know that it's timeless music. Even then when it was created, it's still relevant now.
Everyone wants to hear it now. My kids are as into Motown as their grandmother was, who went to high school with Diana Ross. So that's proof of the value of it. So welcome to Detroit, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.